Emily had been working at St. Mary's Hospital for nearly 6 years. She had seen patients come and go, emergencies at odd hours, and the occasional tragedy. But tonight was different. Tonight was her final night shift before the hospital shut down for renovations. The building had stood for more than 70 years, and people whispered about strange things happening inside it. Most of the staff laughed it off, but Emily always felt uneasy in its long, silent corridors. It was close to midnight when she began her rounds. The lights in the hallways flickered, buzzing softly above her. Paint peeled from the walls, and water stains shaped like distorted faces spread across the ceiling. The entire hospital smelled of damp air, rust, and something faintly metallic, like blood, lingering in the walls. As Emily passed the pediatric wing, she thought she heard a child crying. She froze, then told herself it was her imagination. But the sound grew louder, coming from behind a door. She pushed it open and found the room empty. Only an old wheelchair sat in the corner, rocking slowly as if someone had just left it. The air felt icy, and she shut the door quickly, her heart racing. Around one Amuna, Emily noticed that the door to room 302 was slightly open. That door had always been locked. Staff said it was unsafe, with broken wiring and unstable flooring. But tonight it was ajar. She hesitated, then shined her flashlight inside. The bed was covered in fresh blood stains. Sheets were soaked, and streaks ran across the floor, as if someone had been dragged. She checked the logbook, but no patient was assigned to room 302. Shaking, she went toward the basement, telling herself there had to be an explanation. When she reached the morgue, the air became freezing. The walls sweated with condensation, and the overhead light flickered weakly. One of the freezer drawers slid open by itself with a screech. Inside lay a pale body. Its face was grinning unnaturally, eyes flicking open for the briefest moment. Emily stumbled back, nearly tripping over her own feet. At 3:15 a.m., she heard footsteps behind her, slow, deliberate, matching her every step. When she stopped, they stopped. When she moved, they followed. She spun around and froze. At the end of the hallway stood a tall, faceless shadow. The fluorescent lights above flickered, casting long, eerie shadows on the walls. The shadow moved closer without a sound, stopping only inches away. Though it had no face, Emily felt it staring at her. Cold air pressed against her skin as it leaned close and whispered one word: "Your shift will never end." When the morning staff arrived, they found Emily's belongings neatly placed at the nurse's station, her logbook, her pen, even her half-empty coffee cup. But Emily herself was gone. Months later, the hospital reopened with bright new paint, renovated rooms, and modern equipment. But even today, staff whisper about strange occurrences. Late at night, some say they see a nurse in a white uniform wandering the hallways. Others claim that if you pass room 302, you can still hear the faint cries of a child echoing through the darkness. Sometimes, in the morgue, a freezer drawer slides open by itself, revealing a face that is still smiling, watching, waiting. Michael had been driving night shifts for several years in a small American town. Most nights were quiet, predictable. But tonight, his last shift before taking a week off, felt wrong the moment he turned the key. The bus groaned, headlights cutting through thick fog that seemed almost alive. The first few miles were normal enough, empty streets, occasional flickering lights. But as he turned onto a deserted stretch of highway, the fog swallowed everything around him. Streetlights disappeared. The road twisted unnaturally. Michael glanced in the rearview mirror. The bus was empty, but a feeling of being watched crawled over him. Minutes in, he saw a small boy, maybe 8, sitting perfectly still in the back row, staring at him. Michael blinked. The seat was empty. He rubbed his eyes. The bus lights flickered. The engine hummed strangely, and the radio emitted a low, distorted whisper. "Why aren't you stopping?" The tunnel ahead swallowed the headlights. Darkness pressed into the bus like a physical weight. The boy appeared again, closer this time, standing in the aisle. Michael tried to accelerate. The steering stiffened. Doors creaked open and closed on their own. A cold wind carried the faint metallic smell of blood. Shadows moved in the corners of the bus. Faces appeared in the fog outside the windows, twisted, screaming, disappearing when he tried to focus. Michael felt his pulse spike. Whispers surrounded him, repeating his name, overlapping in impossible layers. Hours seemed to stretch. Every mile forward, the road looped back. The bus interior warped, the seats bent, the ceiling bowed, narrowing the aisle. The boy's whisper came again. "Your shift never ends." Michael's scream was swallowed by the darkness, and he realized the bus was no longer his. The engine groaned. The fog thickened, sticky and solid, wrapping around the wheels. Trees stretched impossibly tall, branches scraping the roof. The GPS displayed roads that didn't exist. Shadows pressed closer inside the bus, entities that should not exist. Finally, the bus exited the fog. The highway appeared normal, but the clock showed 4 hours had passed, twice the expected duration of his shift. Michael shook, trembling. He never drove that route again. Locals whisper that sometimes the bus is seen moving late at night with no driver. And if you peer inside, the boy can still be seen, standing silently, watching, waiting for the next driver to begin a shift, one that will never end. Even today, veteran drivers speak of footsteps echoing in empty buses on foggy highways. The road seems alive, bending and twisting, mocking those who dare travel it alone. And somewhere, in the rearview mirror, the boy's eyes remain black, still watching, promising that your last shift may never truly end.